All right. Well, we're here with Cross Parallel, and nice to have you guys, Jordan and Danielle. Yeah, it's kind of funny because we just met kind of socially about a month or so ago through Jordan's dad, Aaron Pritchett, and I was working on a video, a Stonehouse Sessions project with them, and he suggested to get you guys involved. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I got your vocals, and I was like, holy crap, these guys can sing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny how it worked because we were he just wanted to record his vocals here because we've been doing a lot of recording here and have a decent setup. And he's like, can I do it while I'm in the area? And so he had struggled to get to the really high chorus, and so he's like, how about you just do it?
His range is crazy, so I was like, of course Jordan's
we thought about just letting him just say it was him because my voice is almost similar.
It is like, after the first time I heard it, I heard the difference, kind of right away. Then after a while, when I was working on it and mixing, once I kind of got everything kind of blended in, there would be times like we get to the chorus and I forgot that someone else is singing now. It's really similar.
Yeah. No, I definitely see the similarities, as I get older and wiser. And I see the similarities in our voices and everything about us. But
yeah, and that was a really fun project because like everybody knows that song, but they don't really know it. And so when I was singing the vocals, I was like, this is what it says.
All the difficult lyrics and those verses, yeah.
It was hard, but it was good.
Yeah, it's actually a little tougher song than you think. Just get the syncopation, the rhythm down properly in that one, especially in the verses. The choruses are kind of pretty straightforward, but the verses kind of have a different feel to it. And it's been a fun kind of project for me. Just my third one. I got another 4 I'm working on now, and they obviously they take a long time to do. This one was almost 2 months by the time I started to finished it. Just everyone's schedule and going back and forth, and you kind of have to build parts at a time. So you got the drums down, and you add this and and sometimes it's a week or 2 before you can get parts back and working around people's schedules. So it certainly takes a bunch of time. And then a bunch of editing and fixing on my end and stuff. So, but it's been great. It's been a fun project to do, especially where we're all kind of hanging out at home.
Yeah. That was cool for us to be a part of it. Thanks for allowing us to be on there.
Yeah, no, it was funny because right away when I got the email from Aaron, and I just popped online and took a look, and I saw one of your videos and I listened. I was like, oh gosh, I really like these guys. I mean, there was instant likability with you guys. So you've got a really cool thing going on. So
thank you. Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah. So let's kind of figure out a little bit more about you guys and go back a little bit, and I kind of maybe go between the two of you. Jordan, you obviously grew up in the West Coast. Did you spend most of your time out there, and were you involved with music at all when you were young?
Yeah. Well, my dad being, always been in music my whole life. I was just kind of around it, and I grew up, like Langley, Abbotsford. It's pretty much what I'd call Abbotsford home. We moved around a lot when I was young, but yeah, he was always into music, and I think I was born in 90 and he had gotten started, I think 93, and like he was doing karaoke, he was doing like running karaoke, and then people told him he was pretty good at singing, so he tried starting that, and it took him 10 years to get to see some real success, and of course that's how it goes. There's a lot to learn, and so I was always around it, and so I remembered like some of my earliest memories are road trips to my grandma's in Salmon Arm and listening to Shania Twain, Garth Brooks, Paul Brandt. Those are three main ones, and there's a whole bunch like Clint Black and stuff that was big back then. But so country's always been a part of it. But then I started playing guitar at 11. He got me a electric guitar for Christmas.
Yeah.
And then I started my own band at 15. But I was really not into country. Like I wouldn't have said I was into country back then. And it kind of, so and then like I had my own band in high school. And then out of high school, I got an opportunity to try out for Faber Drive and got that gig. And I was like, I think I was 18, just about 19. And so right out of high school, like a year out of high school, I was touring Canada pretty much. And so it was really awesome. And I really don't know where I'd be if I hadn't gotten that opportunity, like to be thrown into the industry and, touring and
rock star life.
Yeah, thrown into this rock star life, probably too young, but
I've heard the stories.
I wasn't as crazy as like Motley Crue, but definitely not. But
well, it's good to get out of your system young.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had tons of fun and had a really great run. And I started playing country a bit with my dad, but I was kind of like struggling. Like he would put me on some gigs when his guys couldn't make it, but I would have a tough time with it. And it was actually the Chris Buck band I joined. He was just playing like locally at the bars before he's pretty successful now, like a well-known guy. But back then, I was thrown into the bar, just lead guitar gigs, playing country for him in the bar rounds. And so I really realized how difficult it is to play like as a lead guitar player. And I was like, wow, like the musicianship is up there. And I thought I could play anything when I was playing metal and stuff. Like, yeah. I was like, oh yeah, that would be easy. But it was, a huge challenge. So that's, I think the challenge was great. And also, like Dallas Smith and Florida Georgia Line were coming out around then.
Yeah.
And it was like a big rock side of country kind of coming out. So I was really attracted to it then. And it was really cool to me then. So that's pretty much what got us into country. And now I don't even, we're kind of, our music is, we're not trying to like call it country or call it this or that, but it's kind of a mix of rock, country, pop, even indie.
Yeah, it's almost like a Lady Antebellum feel-ish where you can't really say they're country, you can't say that they're rock, but it's kind of...
That's what we're hoping, right? Like, yeah. So, and we're just trying to, we're not trying to write music for country radio or this or whatever. We're just trying to write music we love and hopefully everyone else loves. But Danielle has a great story too about how she got into country.
Oh, do I?
Yeah. I know
what a segue.
Yeah.
Talk about, I'm done talking. So Danielle, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Alberta, so I was actually born in Vermilion, Alberta.
Oh my gosh, I've been there.
You have?
I've played the Vermilion Fair.
Me too.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, we did just a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Vermilion and Vegreville.
My dad was in Vegreville.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
We were just in Vegreville like 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I know exactly where that is. So awesome.
So I grew up, I didn't really even grow up there because we had moved to Edmonton when I was 7. So Edmonton's pretty much home for me.
Yeah.
And I did not grow up in a musical family. So nobody really in my family played music. My dad sings and makes rhymes all the time. Stupid rhymes, but it's not nothing serious. And so I don't know where I got my love for it, but it was...
Your mom's a huge fan of it.
Yeah, my mom's a huge music fan and my dad is as well. And so when I was like 5, she put me into piano lessons, and I fell in love with that. And then throughout school, I was like the band geek. I was like, driven to become the best alto saxophone player. And so
I played alto sax too.
No way.
Okay.
We
That's
have
funny.
a lot in common.
Yeah.
So yeah, I played alto sax, and I was like the youngest in the advanced band in my school. So I was like a keener on the alto sax. I kind of picked up the flute and the trumpet.
Yeah.
I was kind of just trying to learn as many things as I could. And then I joined choir. And then I was actually a dancer more than anything growing up. So I guess I've always been in the arts. I just didn't really know that music was going to be my future.
Yeah.
And I actually used to sing for my friends, but I would I would go stand in a closet. This sounds crazy, but I would go stand in a closet with the karaoke machine and close the door so that they could still hear me, but they couldn't see me. But I loved it. And some of my best friends will be like, I heard her first when she was singing in the closet. So that's kind of where it started for me. And then when I was 15, I got into a snowboarding accident. And so that kind of like messed up my plans of being, a high level ballroom dancer, which I was still. I trained down in the States. I had a coach down there.
Wow.
And so I was pretty competitive in my dance, and that kind of just threw a curveball into everything. And I had this guitar that had been sitting in my closet for like years. My mom had bought me this guitar, and I just never picked it up. I was always more plunking on the piano, and I was like, hey, what the heck, I'll pick it up. And so I did. And it was that same year that I had also gotten to job shadow Sheldon Zaharko, which is a engineer here in Vancouver. He's amazing. And yeah, he was recording or engineering for Tara Oram at the time.
Yep.
And so that was like, for me, having my guitar and then going and getting to kind of be the runner in the studio, and just like seeing again the musicianship and like how it all goes down. And I just gained so much respect for music in general that I was like, I can do this. I want to do this. And Sheldon actually threw me in front of the microphone because he knew I loved to sing. And we recorded If I Die Young. Like I did a cover of it. I won't show anyone now because I was so shy and timid, but my principal at my old school, or my grade 8 teacher, he would throw it up on the intercom during recess so everyone could hear it. And I was like, this is so embarrassing, but it really, kickstarted everything for me. So yeah, that's kind of where I got started, I guess. And then I had my own solo career, and then met this guy, and then the rest is kind of history from there.
Oh, that's awesome. Like, you would think, hearing you sing, that you sang from an early age, right? You kind of, I would have guessed that, oh, she's been singing like since she's young. And
thank you.
Yeah. So
I was definitely shy. Like, I knew I loved it, but I was more like the shower singer. It wasn't like I wasn't performing for people. So
well, I'm glad you finally came out of the closet.
Me too.
Yeah. Me too.
So how do you guys meet? How did that come about?
It was we were kind of flirting through Instagram a little bit, and we were both artists, and just said, hey, let's get together for a songwrite. And I think it was her who said that.
It was
but
him.
She thinks it was me. But
I can't find the conversation.
But she was kind of in the area, so she came to my place after a band practice or something. And we wrote a song that was not very good because our minds weren't really into it. So we were, I don't know, I was shy. I was definitely shy.
She was pretty shy.
But that's kind of how we met, and we just, I don't know, like just started hanging out, and it just we fell in love.
Oh, yeah. It was like he started, backing me up because I loved his voice. So I was like, come play guitar and sing backup vocals for me. And then when you had like we just started playing acoustic shows together, and
Yeah.
it was like Danielle Marie featuring Jordan Aaron, or Jordan Aaron featuring Danielle Marie, and then I don't know.
We did the Vermilion Fair as Jordan and Danielle.
Yeah.
It was like co-shows together.
And it was like, why
So
don't
it
we
was pretty
just,
much a duo, but
yeah.
we just weren't calling it. We were totally reluctant, and then we just finally did it. And a lot of people just kind of expected it. Like a lot of our friends and family were like, yeah, finally, like, of course it was gonna happen. So yeah, it's been over a year now.
Of Cross Parallel.
Yeah, of Cross Parallel. Before that, it was we were thinking of it for a while, like 6 months or like
it was like a year. We had a group chat going with Aaron,
trying to figure out a name. Yeah, with my dad, and like had tons of ideas for such a long time. And it's hard to come up with a name that you are sold on. I'm sure sometimes it's like immediate, but this one took forever.
Wasn't.
Yeah, and I think one of those things where it seems like it's so important at the time, but then later, it's like if you look at different names of different companies, say Nike, like, you know, you think of that name, it's like, oh, that's the perfect name for shoes, right, or whatever, and it really isn't. It just sticks with whatever, and I think once it becomes popular, or as long as it's not something that's hard to remember or difficult to say or something like that, then after a while, it's almost like a song order on a CD too. And I used to work so hard on making sure you pick the right order, and the song's got to follow this song. And after a while, a couple of years later, you're thinking, I have no idea why I put that song after this song. It's that's the way it is.
Yeah, and that's like me. I'm like a technical thinker. When I see some people like, no, this is the way it's got to go, they just know. It's like, I'm jealous of that. I wish I could just be that decisive. I've tried recently to be just decisive and just do things and not think too much. But
I think it was good that we put thought into the name, because it does like have a cool meaning to us.
And it was the first big step, a big commitment, and like, you know, it felt like pretty big.
Felt like we were birthing a child.
Yeah, it was like
it was like, that long, was it? Yeah.
Imagine when we have a child one day. We'll take a year to name.
So is there meaning? What's the meaning behind the name then?
So basically, we crossed paths, and it was like totally unexpected. Like I had my career
from two different, completely opposite ends. We were pretty different.
We're very yin and yang, so it was just like this clash, and it wasn't planned. Like it was out of nowhere. And then now everything we do is like just parallel. Everything we do it together, and we're always on the same page. So
this is like
cross,
parallel. And then it goes.
That's awesome.
That might be actually it's kind of in our logo. We have like a cross and then cross and then parallel.
My dad's like has this dream where we're gonna like sell out arenas one day, and the crowd's just gonna like be like doing this, standing out there. No, he's got it all figured out.
Is there going to be concerts in the future? Do we think? I don't know. Is that coming back?
Well,
I hope so.
We actually, it's announced today or yesterday. We actually have some real live shows happening, and it's going to be, you know, social distanced dinners. So like people at tables, and it's going to be in Nanaimo. And it's August 14th and 15th.
Yeah.
Tickets are going to go on sale soon. But that's so exciting to have like a show in front, like for a crowd that's come there to see you. Like that's super exciting this year. Like we had some really big things coming this year. This was going to be a good one for, you know, big shows for us. Mm-hmm. So, you know, hopefully I think they're being pushed to next year, and you know, for right now, it's everything's up in the air. Like, hopefully next year is somewhat back to normal, but it is good and really encouraging to have some shows lined up and getting there, right? Like,
you guys are a little bit further ahead than we are here in Ontario. And, you know, fortunate for you guys, we still, Toronto's still a bit of a hot zone. I mean, it's not out of control or anything, but it's still not at the point where they're allowing many people into, and the gigs are really, there's been a couple drive-in gigs, there was a couple this past weekend, a couple outdoor little shows where, you can have 100 people outdoors, 50 people indoors. That's the limit here now.
That's here,
I think
it's about the same there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure like with the capacities allowing, right. But, it's, so maybe there'll be stuff there too, but we're just, grateful to have something. And, coming from Edmonton too, it's like, even just things are different everywhere. It's like, we drive to Edmonton and they treat it a little differently. And honestly, it's, everybody's just gotta, bear down and do their parts and by wearing masks and whatever.
Follow the rules.
Yeah.
Well, if everyone would get on board, I think it would clear up much quicker.
Totally.
But you can't make everybody do the right thing, and not what we think is right. Someone else doesn't think is right. So I don't know how you fix that issue or that problem. We're just gonna have to wait and get through it. And I mean, I always look at this. I mean, it's a terrible situation. It's probably the worst for people like us in the music industry. I know I hear all the time on the radio, they're saying, the worst hit industry, the restaurant industry. And I said, yeah, I feel bad for them, and they've been hit pretty hard, but they're open. At least they can do something. A huge majority of us can't really do anything. So that's the tough part. But I look at it, you have to look at it a bit of as a gift, right? We've been given this time to do something that we normally don't have a chance to do, whether it's write more songs, record more stuff, learn some more stuff, work on social media, do more planning, and all those things you really don't have time for. We have this little gift of being able to, let's catch up on all this other stuff that we haven't been doing. And So I feel for people, especially in your position where you're ramping up, right? And things are going and it feels good. And this is going to be a good year, maybe a stepping stone year, and then it just kind of halts. It's got to be frustrating. How's it been mentally on your end?
I mean, we were really excited. Main stage at Sunfest has been a big goal for me for the past few years. So we got that this summer. And so that was hard to, not be playing that. And the band was all excited. But I think what you mentioned, like we have come up with some pretty amazing stuff creatively that we just, I don't know if we were in the space before, but it forced us to really like be creative and make new music. And like now we're, working towards an album that I don't know if we would have really been this going with it before. So and for him too, with your producing, like he's grown so much just as a producer because he's literally on his laptop all day, working on stuff and messing around. So it's given us that space too, to be able to be better at making our own music, which is, I think, a great asset.
Yeah. And I think we're lucky in that way that we've been kind of building this small, but, good home studio, for the past year or two. And so it was pretty much like where I'd want it to be. And luckily we had that through all this, and we've been able to work on stuff. And then, like you said, it's kind of forced us to do the writing, do the planning and the recording and everything. Like we wouldn't be as far as we are with that stuff if it was a normal year, because so much time goes into, like, for us, it's like a day thing, when we have a show at night.
Oh yeah.
And you know what it's like. It's, you have to plan your day around it. And so for busy years, yeah, it's like you kind of like have to
summer
find time.
equals music. Like that's what it is. Like the
Yeah.
fact that, and two, just like being able to spend some, like I haven't been able to go camping, and I grew up camping like every weekend when I was younger, and like we're getting to go camping this summer, which is kind of cool because normally we don't get to do that.
You know, like that's usually where my family's camping on August long weekend, and that's like the busiest weekend.
Yeah, it's like we can't do that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to commit to that when something could come up. But so we are lucky, but we are also like, you know, there's a lot of positives I think that we can take from it, and I do think we're lucky, but we're trying to look on the bright side too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do, and you can't get too down on things. You just kind of have to say this is the way it is, and let's make the best of it, and go full steam ahead. I think for those who've really thought of it as a negative thing and really just kind of stopped, that's been not great. And I know a few people like that, and I'm sure you do too. But I think it's the people who have really strong drive, are pulling through and doing stuff. And that's what you need in this industry anyways. You need to have that. You need to work all the time. And people think that you just go out and do a show and you've got the rest of the time off, and you just kind of hang out and wait till your next show. And a lot of people have no idea that it's the hours and hours and hours and hours of stuff, of work, just to get to that hour or two of being on stage.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, we're trying to keep busy, and I think that's the most important thing, is keep busy and
Keep
be
improving.
resourceful, and, you know, keep your mind in a positive space, and be grateful for what we have too, right?
Yeah. And lucky that you guys have each other too. That helps a lot. And, you know, if someone's down, the other one usually is there to, you know, help pull things along. So what is it like now as a couple of young people in the music industry trying to make it? What do you find the toughest battle is now in trying to be successful in the music industry?
Well, I guess I've, you know, getting to see my dad do it when I was young, but, you know, like I know things have changed so much since then, since like, you know, the 2000s. The whole route is like, the road to success is different. And with the streaming services, just the internet has changed so much. So we've just, you know, we're trying to be smart and kind of have a bit of a, you know, not a business mind, but like a management mind. Like we need to know what we need to be spending our time on. And it can't all just be performance for us these days. You know, you can't just go get a manager like that easily. And you like, no matter what, like ask any entrepreneur of any kind, you kind of have to always be in control of what you do and your, you know, your assets. So I think that's what I've learned. And, you know, my dad's always taught me like, know everything. Like this is, and, you know, he's taught me from his mistakes as well. So I've just tried to always like know everything that's going on and know everything that we could be doing that can advance us. So
and I think for myself, like I went through a big phase in my solo career where I kind of got, I don't know, not, I guess, uninspired. Like I had my voice and I had what I wanted to say, and it was maybe not what was on the radio or what was popular, but it was like my voice. And so for me, I kind of almost lost myself for a little bit there. And I feel like, again, with the blessing of this year, I feel like I found my voice again. And as an independent artist, just like trusting who you are as an artist and not trying to conform to the sound or like, you know, what's going on around you, and just really stick to your guns and be different. Like it's okay to be different. Like that's what makes you an artist. And so for me, that's that's probably the hardest thing.
And one thing I think that hasn't changed is like anyone trying to make any kind of career in music is probably like being an entrepreneur, where you can't give up, right?
Totally
you can't.
is, yeah.
You have to like stick it out through tough times, because there's plenty of times that you can give up. So I think that's always been the same. You know, it's easy to look back at like the good old days, but you know, a lot of bands forever they've had to work their ass off to get where they were.
I don't think that looking back there never was really the good old days. It was just what you had to work with at the time. And it's those people who worked really, really hard are the ones that really, really made it. And you look at some of these documentaries that you can get now, it's great. And you look at some of these people's careers, and it's like some people got famous quick, seemed to happen quick, but most of them, man, it was just dog sledding the hours. It's just over and over again. It gets inspired to see how you think you worked a lot, and then you see somebody else and think, God, I'm not doing anything. Yeah, and it's really a work ethic. And it's interesting you mentioned too, Jordan, about, you know, manager and all that stuff. And I think back in the day you had a manager because that's the person who had the contacts or could reach this particular person at the record company or get in touch with this venue to get a show or whatever it was. But now it's so easy to reach out. You just pop online and go to someone's Instagram account and reach out to them and see yourself whether you can make contact. And you don't really need that person to make that happen. I mean, sometimes it's good to have that middle person, but man, it's amazing what contacts you can make just reaching out and saying hello.
That's one thing, you know, there's I guess there's negatives about, you know, there's been so much change, but there's negatives, but there's positives like that, like, you know, and then how easy it is to get your music up.
Look at Izzy's career.
Yeah, we have a good friend, actually, the lead singer of Faber Drive, Dave Faber. His son is Pao Fu, and he's really well known now. He had this song that blew up on TikTok and actually like worked his butt off for a couple of years, and he's super talented and just hustled online with like SoundCloud and Instagram and messaging people, reaching out and, you know, trying to get promotion, trying to get people all over the world to listen to his music. And now he's blowing up like crazy. Like we hear him on the radio all the time. He's got like over 500 million streams on that song.
Wow.
And it's on Spotify.
Yeah.
And so it's just insane. Like it's super encouraging because, you know, that's one of those positives to what it's like now. You know, you can put your stuff out easily. You can do it all yourself. He literally has done it all himself. He even, you know, like uses Logic and just he like mastered it himself. He did everything except for the beat, which, you know, like the beat he got on the internet, and there's ways to do that now. It's just like, it's crazy. He could just in his bedroom do this, build this huge business, which he's just doing that out of love. And I think that's one of the most important things is in anything you do in life, like do it because you love it. So I think that's really encouraging.
Yeah, and I guess on the other side of things is that is now competition because there's so many people who can sit in their bedroom and make something happen. You don't have to go to a big studio. All those things. You know, you don't need a PR team. All that stuff. You can just sit there and throw stuff out yourself. You can, if you're snappy and good on the computer, then you can get a lot done. And it blows my mind, really. It just. Even for myself, just doing stuff and trying to keep up on a regular basis with things. And thinking, I can't believe how much I can actually get done on my own. This is awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. It's like, crazy. You know, you definitely don't run out of stuff to do because there's always something we could be doing. So,
yeah. And I always, you know, my motto is always, if you're going to do something, make sure it's to the best of your ability. And that's what I always strive for. Even if you don't get something done that you wanted to, as long as what you got done, you can look at it and kind of go, yeah, I put my very best into that. And then, we all see on the internet, a lot of people who don't do that, and are trying real hard. And you look at things thinking, oh gosh, I want to take this person aside for like 3 minutes and say, hey, you should maybe, fix this or do this a little better. Or, are you really doing 100%? Or are you just throwing things out there and hoping something will happen? But it's the ones who you see that really put that extra effort in, are the ones that really succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good motto. My dad always says, do the extra. So it's very much the same.
Yeah, in reaching out, it was pretty funny this week. I was looking at different guests I was going to have on the podcast, and a week or two ago, I reached out to, I'm not sure if you remember him, Bob Eubanks. He used to host the Newlywed Game in the 60s and 70s age. It was a huge game show.
Yeah.
And he also was a huge promoter in music. He managed Merle Haggard's career for 10 years, and Dolly Parton. He brought the Beatles into the Hollywood Bowl for 2 years and promoted them at the Dodger Stadium. And there's this massive music career. So I said, wouldn't it be really cool to talk to him? And so I just shoved out some emails to everyone on his webpage, just, agent, publicist, all that stuff, and nothing. And then I just got this email, and it just came up, Bob. And it was like, oh, who's that? It was Bob Eubanks. He said, hey, give me a call. And he just gave me his cell phone number. So I just gave him a call and last week, and we chatted. And then I said, we'd love to do a podcast. So, yeah, you can see him. I could hear him taking out, he's 83 now. I could hear him taking out his binder and looking through. And it's like, yeah, Monday morning, I could do that. And so yesterday, I did the podcast with Bob Eubanks, and it was so weird. I was just listening to him I usually don't get weirded out by talking to famous people or meeting famous people, but there was something about hearing his voice, and he's got that real deep DJ voice from years ago, and it was pretty awesome. But it was just a couple of emails, and that was it. It was done. So yeah, you never know until you try too. That's what I always look at too.
Yeah, and the worst someone could say to you is no. So like, it's worth putting yourself out there and being an advocate for yourself.
Yeah, and I'm always the people I hear no's from are always the ones that I think would be the easiest, and people to get, or either as a guest or work for you. Think, oh, there'd be no problem getting this person. They're the ones that say no. And then you stretch out to the people that you think there's no way they would do it. And they're always the ones that say, yeah, no problem. It's weird, but you just go for it.
Yeah, you just never know.
Yeah. So what are you guys hoping in the game plan in the future? What are you, do you guys look 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road? And do you have a spot where you want to be?
Yeah, well, we were actually really close to starting that 5-year plan that we have envisioned for ourselves, which is, it's going to sound crazy, but our goal is to either sell or rent out our place, and buy an RV and have the back of the RV as a studio, and tour around, record our music, play shows, move to Nashville for 4 months out of the year, write with our favorite writers down there, and just play music. That's
sounds
our
crazy,
dream.
but honestly, people say we're crazy, but we're like, you know what, we know this is what we can do it, and we would love it. And because we're in Edmonton a lot already, visiting her family a lot, probably at least 4 times a year on normal years. And then, COVID we were literally about to do this.
It was going to happen.
And COVID, shutting the borders down. And obviously, we weren't going to go to Nashville.
And I think it was exciting for me because that's been a big goal and dream of mine since I moved out on my own when I was 18 to Vancouver to pursue music. It was like, I'm going to stay here and then I'm going to move to Nashville like as soon as possible. And I don't know why we haven't done it sooner, but this just felt so right. And when everything just feels like it's aligning, and
so that's still a big part of our plan. And I'd say we're still looking to do that like as soon as possible, but
and we want to have our record out by fall is our goal, to have our record out by fall. And like long term, I think obviously we all have, as musicians, our dream would be to, be playing massive crowds of people with their phones up and all that stuff. But as long as I think we are playing music and, playing to people and it can be our life, then I'm and
having
happy.
Fun doing it, I think, is like, the reason we got into it in the first place. And we don't want to lose the love for it. So we're just going to keep, making stuff we love. And
I'm really excited, like really, really excited to show people what we're working on right now. Like it's different. We like to surprise people, but it's like, stuff we love. So it's not a surprise to us. Yeah.
But, and it's exciting. Just we'll be releasing some stuff very soon, and the album, we're working for fall.
Awesome. That's pretty. I think the whole motorhome type situation with the studio in it, I think that's awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. And as a PR thing, I think that's really cool as well. And why not just travel to places and people you want to meet and collaborate with and work with, and just go right to them and have a spot to do it. And actually, I just saw a guy online. I'll have to see if I can find it. I'll send it to you. But there's a producer in LA who's made, he's got a motorhome where he's turned into a studio, and he's been driving around California recording different people. He just drives up. Sometimes he just drives up to their house, plugs in and records. And during this time, it's been great because people aren't going anywhere, and he's got a safe way of doing it too, where people don't have to make contact with him or be too close. And it's super smart, and I think it's why not, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's our 5-year plan. Maybe in 5 years we'll be like, okay, time to get back to like one place. But I think, I don't know, it just gives us that freedom to go to Nashville right there, maybe go to LA for a couple months right there. Like we're not stuck in one spot, and we have our home with us wherever we go. So,
and as far as our home studio setup, it's a very small room it's in right now. It's like we can get by with a little room and a trailer.
He packs up our studio with us wherever we go.
Literally, like, the essentials, other than the desk, I'm packing in this little box, and a laptop bag, and then just like a mic stand. Like we're pretty like
mobile.
Yeah, very mobile and ready to go. Like, so we had just brought that to Edmonton, like did some BG vocals, and we're pretty much like ready to go whenever, wherever. So
whenever COVID allows us to go.
Yeah, and to have like the trailer, just have it set up wherever we go would be sweet. That's like the dream, right? So
yeah, I mean, go for it. I mean, it will happen sooner than later, and I think things will open up, at the beginning of the year, and we're good to go, and especially in that situation where you can stay safe within your own bubble there anyways. And then, go where it's not the hot spots, right? We're not going to Texas for a while. So
it cools down there. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for your support, because
that's cool.
It always means a lot to hear that.
Yeah. I'm really excited for you guys, and I love seeing new groups and young people really going at it and working hard, and who have really great talent. I appreciate what you guys do, and I hope you are very successful. Now, people, if want to follow you on on the socials, what's the best way to see your material and hear you and contact you?
Well, we're kind of on everything, but I would say we're most active on Instagram. So that would probably be if somebody wanted to reach out to us to collaborate or whatever. Instagram, I think, would be the best place to reach us.
At Cross Parallel.
On everything, pretty much.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, Cross Parallel on Facebook and Twitter. Those are pretty much our main. We don't really do TikTok.
We need to get into TikTok, but we just haven't yet.
We're not have all the time.
I don't know if it's going to be around for that much longer. I bet you it's going to get shut down. I'm pretty sure it's going to. Yeah.
I heard some things because it's there's some crazy stuff on there. I don't know. It's not very censored, but Instagram's the best place. And then,
Instagram and Facebook. And then we have Twitter as well.
Apple Music, Spotify, everyone, all the streaming services.
Probably wherever you can find it. Maybe one day we'll get hard copy CDs because we have money to do it, right?
Yeah. And vinyl. You got to get vinyl someday.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Danielle has some vinyl of her stuff.
I do. I did a cover of Santa Baby for Christmas one year.
Nice. And
it was like really vintage, old sounding, and so we had to do it.
Awesome. I won't show you my vintage vinyl. It's pretty sad looking. It's definitely those, is he playing a polka band, type of picture in the front?
Hey, it probably sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this is a question I usually like to wrap up on, and it was interesting because when I asked Bob Eubanks yesterday, his answer is interesting, but most artists I ask, do you have a favorite spot out there that you think you'd always want to perform, like a venue that say this is the one place I really want to play?
Yeah. I guess it's like BC Place, but that's the local stadium. But there's some legendary, like if I were to say anywhere,
Wembley.
Well, yeah, we can go with the huge stage.
That's mine.
Wembley.
That's mine. I would die.
Yeah, that would be pretty nuts. But there's a lot of little places too that.
When he said big, I'm thinking.
Yeah, when you're thinking big, yeah.
Well, any place. It could be anywhere, really.
I think after the Garth show or the Garth documentary that we watched too, you always have your spots that you want to play, but after that, seeing him completely sell out Central Park, that was pretty cool too. So,
I would say that would probably be the biggest on the list.
Oh yeah, we can do it. We'll give ourselves some time.
Yeah, just pull up at the trailer and open up the back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How easy will that be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, stick with me for a minute, but after we wrap up. But it was a pleasure having you on the Stonehouse Sessions. You did a killer job, as I mentioned. If you haven't had a chance to see that, you can see that on my Facebook page and on my YouTube page. And I'll link that in the show notes for this podcast. And I appreciate you doing that. And it's been fun getting to know you guys. And I really wish you all the best of luck. And I have a good feeling about you guys. You're going to do well.
Oh, thanks, you. This was awesome. I love this podcast life.
Yeah. Me too. I like it too. All right. Well, thanks again. And stick around here. And good luck. We'll see you real soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.